XRP and Ripple about to leave a dent in the universe, and 99% of the public is looking the wrong way. In today's video, I'm going to break down how Bitcoin and XRP are reframing the global financial system, not just in America, but the global financial system. We're going to talk about the facts, figures, numbers, logic, and why the unsuspecting public doesn't understand at a deep level what is happening. Since a very, very young age, since we were in the indoctrinated schooling system, we're taught to go to school, get a job. In our class, 2 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch, and we bring our homework home, just like we do in corporate America. Then you go to school, you get a college degree, you get a job, you pay for an education that you can't afford, and then you get paid in someone else's debt. It's called a fiat system, a fake system. And if you played Monopoly every single weekend, it would finally kick in. Who wins the game? Is it the person holding all the cash, or is it the bank lending out the money and the person who ends up with all the assets? Think about it for just a moment. As you were looking this way, as you're worried about the Epstein files, P. Diddy, they're reframing your whole system this way. The very people that told you Bitcoin's used for money laundering or fraud are now the largest holders in Bitcoin. 95% of the supply is gone, 5% is left, and 95% of the public does not have exposure to crypto. Remember, the 1% will always remain the 1%. XRP and Ripple are going to reframe the financial payment system, and Bitcoin will end up being the new store of value, like gold, for the future. So let's dive right in. So the first thing I want to show you guys is this is a massive week, an historical week in cryptocurrency. There's so many things happening right now. Right now they have crypto week. This is crypto week. The Genius Act is passed. It's sitting at the House, or it's sitting at the House right now. We're getting the Clarity Act for cryptocurrency rules and regulations. And this was posted yesterday. The Federal Reserve and U.S. regulators issue statements saying banks are allowed to custody Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The Board of Governors and the Federal Reserve System, the Office of Comp Controllers, the OCC, okay, the Federal Reserve System, and the FDIC collectively are issuing the statement for banking organizations that provide and considering providing safekeeping for crypto assets. For the purpose of the statement, safekeeping is defined as services of holding an asset on customers' behalf. The agencies recognize that crypto custodians may provide other custody services. While safekeeping crypto assets, this statement focuses on safekeeping. I told you guys since 2020, by 2025, your banks would be able to custody your crypto. Here we go. Let's continue on here. Cointelegraph posted this. You're going to see more and more of this. So we have Coinbase, we have Circle IPO, and now we have Grayscale working to IPO. Think about this, guys. You got to understand what is actually happening right now. The whole system is reframing to blockchain. It's going to be a brand new system. Distributed ledger technology, ISO, is now live. Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So Anthony Pompliano was on the, I think it was CNBC here, and it says, "Welcome to the greatest show on Wall Street. Bitcoin has the full undivided attention of Wall Street investors." And the reason why, family, is the big money knows, okay, remember 10% of the world, or 10% of the United States owns about 88% of the equities or markets, okay? 50% of our public is in debt. They're not even in the markets. So the public, or excuse me, the 10% that owns most of the markets now is starting to notice Bitcoin because it's decoupling from the S&P. When Trump dropped the tariffs, it kind of held its value. When they bombed Iran, it held its value. And now people are starting to recognize it as a store of value and a flight to quality. Just like Trump flipped on you. He said he was buying it 3 years ago when he told you he wasn't a crypto person 6 years ago. Larry Fink told you it was used for money laundering and flipped on you 3 years ago around the same time. Sounds like Trump flipped. So they're doing something that they're telling us not to do, and now they own a ton of it. Check this out.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Bitcoin this morning hitting a new high above $123,000 doing this right now on the move. And what it means, Anthony Pompliano is here as the founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management. Good morning to you. I guess, as Joe said, if you're going to get to 250,000 or 500,000, you got to cross 123 at some point. But what do you think is happening? What's driving it right this moment?
First of all, welcome to the greatest show on Wall Street. I think that Wall Street's full undivided attention now is on Bitcoin. And really, there's three things that drove this move. The first is that there's been record inflows into the ETFs. So last Thursday,
I want you to write down ETFs because we're going to talk about the XRP, and I'm going to bring that up on tomorrow's video. Okay, so just listen to what he says about ETFs because we need inflows into XRP. So pay attention.
1.2 billion, second highest day. Those ETFs now collectively have over 140 billion. BlackRock's fund is now almost $90 billion in about a year. They went from not having a Bitcoin ETF to now they have a top 20 largest ETF in the world. So there's a lot of inflows there. Second thing is the options expired at the end of Q2. And so all that downward pressure on Bitcoin obviously goes away. That helps kind of like a beach ball getting put underneath the water, right? Obviously it can pop back up. And then the third thing is that there was a lot of short sellers. And you started to see that build up. And as they got blown out, as Bitcoin ran, you get into this price discovery phase. If you go back to November, we went from 70,000 to 90,000 in about 2 to 3 weeks. And 70,000 was a new all-time high. What we're watching now is we broke through that $110,000 range. That was the previous all-time high. I don't know if it goes to 140, but it sure is going to make a big move here because you are in a true price discovery phase.
Okay, so now we're in price discovery. So ETF. Remember that for XRP. That is going to be your signal. Okay, Justin Bloomberg says BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF is the most profitable ETF. Okay, so Bitcoin and cryptocurrency specifically are taking over Wall Street.
Tantrum into a comfortably bullish state of mind here. Let's hone in on the Bitcoin and Ether for a minute here. And since the rally has been all the news today, it's showing in the flows. I think the ETFs have been part of the rally. If you look, this shows the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and here's the spot Ether. So Ether is smaller, but definitely it's trending up. But look at the Bitcoin ETFs. They've taken in $50 billion since they came out. So they came out in January. They had 28 because GBTC was a conversion. Now all the way up there, $155 billion in assets. IBIT more than half. Now the 20th biggest ETF overall. 7th biggest
in the world, guys. So remember this. Up until 2023, okay, Larry Fink flipped on you right around. I don't know if you guys see my thing. Okay, right around here, he flipped on you. He's like, "Oh, it's a flight to quality." I think it was during Davos, and he flipped and he said, "It's a flight to quality. I made a mistake." And then all of a sudden, January 2024, around this time right here, they launched their IBIT, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, and boom! Now they're the #2 holder in Bitcoin, the top 20 ETF in the world. So now as we transition on the back end of this year here, what you're going to want to pay attention to is the XRP ETF. That is going to be your signal and your catalyst. Two things: lower interest rates, which we're dangerously close to lower interest rates and the devaluation of the dollar. And that's going to make crypto fly in a bull run, right? And you're going to see a XRP ETF get approved. That is what we need, because that brings Mrs. Jones. It brings asset managers in, like Mrs. Jones. Let's throw some, because Mrs. Jones isn't going to go to Coinbase and buy XRP and own the asset. She's not going to go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin, right, on an exchange. They're going to get access through ETF, exchange traded funds. So I just want to show you this. So breaking, the Federal Reserve has implemented ISO. We know that went live yesterday for Fedwire to improve cross-border payments, reporting, bank exchange. This is the first report indicating that the migration was apparently successful. So we had a successful migration. Okay, and this is on the banking exchange website. Fedwire adopts international messaging standard, and down in their paragraph here it says, although the central bank postponed the implementation several times. Interesting, the Ripple case kept getting delayed several times, and right when it was like, hey, we're done, ISO went live. I don't know. Their connection, I don't know. 2023 proposal ultimately set deadline for July 14th, 2025, which was yesterday. However, several major cryptocurrencies are already compliant or aligned with ISO 20022 standards. These include XRP, Stellar, Cardano, Algorand, QNT, and HBAR. The new standard is especially important for banks and credit unions making cross-border payments, as many foreign counterparties already use it. Fedwire processes around 4.7 trillion in global transactions daily, with much of that international commerce conduct in US dollars. This isn't some big grand conspiracy, guys. The system has to change as Ripple keeps dominating, Ripple plans stablecoin entry into the European Union. It is registering in Luxembourg institution to comply with MiCA regulations. Here it is right here. Ripple plans RLUSD stablecoin EU entry into via Luxembourg. Am I saying that correctly? I'm sure somebody will correct me. Okay. Here we are. So the next step, guys, is interest rates, right? You know, Trump is putting tons of pressure on Jerome Powell to either resign or to lower interest rates. They have to lower interest rates. We have some of the highest interest rates in the world. So you have, what happens is the Fed rate, I think, is about 4.25 to about 4.5. So you have the Fed rate and then you have the bank rate, okay? So Trump wants to bring the Fed rate down to anywhere from 1.25 to about 2%. So that brings rates way down. So you have the Fed rate and then the banks add their rate on top of it, okay? Because the whole system is interest. If they do bring rates as low as possible, it is going to stimulate the economy, which is fantastic. Okay. Tariffs are all gonna settle. The money's gonna come back into America. Your gas prices are gonna go down. Inflation is going down. Gas prices, egg prices, all those different things. You're gonna have more money in your pocket because you're gonna have access to what? More debt. When there's lower interest, you can get more debt. And so Americans, we've been indoctrinated to borrow against our future selves. Okay. So if you make $100,000 and you get a $30,000 credit card, okay, you now increase your borrowing power from 100,000 to 130,000, but you did not increase your earning capacity. That's how they trap Americans. Okay, we get a 30-year mortgage. We extend a $600,000 house, a 30-year mortgage out so we can afford. We always ask when we go in there, what do we always ask? What's the payment? And we should be asking, what the hell is this going to cost me over the 78-month auto loan that I have, right? But we're always worried about the payment. That's what they taught us. Wealth doesn't worry about the payment. Wealth worries of how much this is going to cost in the long run, and could we actually invest that money and then use an asset to pay for the liability? So we have to reframe our mind. So yes, more money is going to come into the economy than we've ever experienced in the next 3 years. But what the unsuspecting public's going to do, because we're deeply indoctrinated, is buy more stuff. What we want to do is take this cash, which is now going to be even more trash because lower interest rates and a printed environment is only going to devalue your dollar. Now we know why BlackRock went all in on Bitcoin. Now we know why they're the #2 holder. Now we know why Trump family is deep in cryptocurrency. Okay. It's not a grand conspiracy. This has to change. They always tell you to look this way. I don't know if you call that a conspiracy. It's how they do it. Problem, reaction, solution. There's a problem that's created. There's a huge reaction in the public, and then they come up with the solution. It's the same thing over and over again. They get you drunk in the Coliseum. Trojan horse comes in. You wake up. You're in a new system. You forget. It's like Men in Black. Ding. You forget about everything, and then you got to keep living your life, right? All the Epstein files. You're going to forget about all this stuff, and you're going to wake up in 2030 and be like, oh, shit, what just happened? The very people that are complaining about cryptocurrency, that think it's a fraud, they're actually going to be using it without even knowing it. They're going to be transacting with their debit card, and they're going to be using cryptocurrency without even blockchain, without even knowing it. They won't even know that this settlement's happening in XRP. They won't even know that. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like it's always been the same. You know, I remember my pops when all the stuff first came out, all the technology. You know, he was like, he wasn't very big on it, right? My dad now has an iPhone. He has I think he has 2 laptops. He has an iPad, right? He's on his computer all the time. It's kind of cute. He's always like, hey, I'm on TikTok, but it's YouTube Shorts, right? So he thinks it's TikTok, but it's just funny. Like the very thing that we resist, right? Oh, I'm not going to let them do, the ID, whatever stuff, but everybody opens their phone with Face ID. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we always resist the thing, and then they slowly break us down, and then we're existing in it. We're like, oh, wow. I open my phone with Face ID every single day. Everything I do now opens my phone with my biometrics, my face. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we're constantly fighting this invisible enemy. And that's why I always lean back on Jesus in the Bible. Who do we give our taxes to? He says, who's on the coin? Caesar. Give your taxes to Caesar. Give to God what is his. Give to me what is mine. That will always be the same, guys. So that's why I focus on God, family, protecting my ecosystem at all costs, and stay out of other men's business. I'm too busy working on mine. So here's exactly what I do. Okay. Remember, I'm going to say the same thing, repeat the same thing until something changes. Bitcoin is my store of value like gold. I buy it every single day. I buy XRP and Bitcoin every single day at dollar cost average. Every single month, I buy a little bit of Solana. Okay. I have my other bags packed. I have my top 6 are XRP #1, Bitcoin #2, Solana #3, XLM, HBAR and VeChain. Those are my top 6, right? And I have many other, and I'm going to be consolidating out of most of them during this bull run. I'm going to be consolidating probably down into probably my top 3 or my top 6 by 2030. There's no reason to have a bunch of different cryptocurrencies. Even in investment, that is something that I'm learning through wisdom. It's like people that have 50 different cryptos trying to $100 here, $500 here. That's not a good way to do your investing. Get really consolidated in things you really know, like, and trust, and go all in on them. Right? With businesses, I've learned wisdom through that. I used to think that you had to have 7 sources of income and all this different stuff. It's like, we got really good. We have 6 companies, 3 are in profit. And why are the 3 in profit? Because I'm really focused on 3 of them. And it's like, do I really need all these companies? It doesn't, how can you spread yourself out and be effective, right? When I got really dialed in on my 3 main companies, profitability started going through the roof, dialed in. Okay. You can't just, it's like everybody's preaching this thing. You want to own all these businesses and have all this stuff. Get really good at a couple things, and everybody's different too. Like I like cryptocurrency. Okay. I love cash value life insurance. I practice what I preach. I use it. I use cash generating dividends. I'm really good at business. Okay. And so those are things I'm really good at. So I stay in my lane and I really dial in on those. Right. I'm not trying to be a jack of everything. It's kind of like I'm getting into real estate now. I'm not a real estate expert. So I'm, meeting with different experts on my best strategy. I'm starting to find there's other strategies that can help me a lot, because that's all. I just want tax liabilities. I just want depreciation. I want to save money on taxes. So there's a lot of other avenues that I can go down as well. So my point is you don't have to do all these strategies that everybody's doing. Get really good at a couple things. So if you're just in crypto right now, okay, get really good at understanding what you're invested in and go all in. Don't let anybody fudge you in and out. So when I talk about Bitcoin, XRP people go crazy. When you talk about XRP around Bitcoin people, they go crazy. It's like, who cares, man? Like, if you believe in something, then why would you care what somebody else thinks? That means you don't believe in it, right? It's like, why would you invest in something if you don't believe in it? Why would you be offended if someone doesn't believe in what you're invested in? Okay, you have to get really, really stoic. You have to be really, really calm, because it's very easy to get fudded in and fudded out. It's very easy to get wrecked and get emotional. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. So Bitcoin I'm holding. Store value like gold. Let's pretend that's in our leverage component. We focus on cash flow. Cash flow is king, not cash. I try to create as much cash flow as I can. Okay. I do that through 2 different things: through my active income, through my businesses. Okay. And then when I get paid through active income, I do a couple things with that money. Dollar cost average every single day into Bitcoin and XRP, monthly into Solana. Okay. Every single week I get paid by dividends from my different companies on different days. I take that money. I do a couple things. Number one is I buy more cash flow with my cash generating dividends, which pay me monthly. I either protect it, which I do monthly. I put money on the sidelines. There's money going to my premiums if I need to put more into my policies, or I put it into a deflationary asset when the markets are coming down. So when the markets cool off a little bit, I stuff a little bit more into my Bitcoin and XRP. I do not store my money in cash. I either store it in insurance that's going to protect the principal. It's going to, have increasing death benefits and keep up with inflation, or I'm putting into deflationary assets that have fixed supplies that are going to grow, or I'm putting into something richest man in Babylon that creates cash. With the cash that comes in monthly from the dividends, I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting it right back into Bitcoin and XRP, which are deflationary. That's what I like to do. Like I said, monthly, I'm putting premiums into my cash value life insurance. Now we're heading into what's called the bull run parabolic move. My first move, when it goes parabolic, let's put Bitcoin off to the side. I'm never selling it. It's my bank. My altcoins, when they go up, I'm exiting 50% on the way up. First thing I do is stuff money into my cash value life insurance policies. That's protection. Okay. I'm not just in one asset class. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea just to be all in on one asset class. Okay. I like to have assets around the risk pyramid. So insurance is at the bottom of the risk pyramid. So I'm pulling it off the top, max funding the policies. And now we go into what's called leverage. So there's cash flow, deflationary assets, protection, then leverage. Leverage, now I have a family bank, insurance side, and I have a Bitcoin bank this side. So now I have 2 leverage components. I can leverage against my life insurance policies around 5% per year. I can take that, I can put it into cash generating dividends, pay it off, or go back into deflationary. I just recently borrowed from my Bitcoin to buy my insurance firm. It's paying it off. Okay. 14%, grows 50% every year. I beat the hurdle rate by 36%. So the things I'm talking about are really important for us to understand. The book Cash Flow Quadrant will help you with that. Okay, Understanding the Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, The Richest Man in Babylon. Understand the principles of Richest Man in Babylon, The Wisdom of King Solomon. Okay, the key is, think about King Solomon and the richest man in Babylon. Don't play games with your money. And another thing is, don't play in the casino, guys. Stay out of meme coins. You're the exit liquidity. Okay. The more hyped it is, the more the person's promoting it, probably the more they're being paid. If you want to get rich quick, go to the casino, see how that works out. If you want to, go buy a lottery ticket, see how many times you win. And when you do win, what happens is you get dopamine and you think you're going to do it again. That's not how wealth is built. Wealth is not built that way. And if you gain wealth hastily or quickly, it'll go away quickly. So yeah, so that's what I got for you guys. I do have resources for you. First resource, I'll put it right down here. In just a moment, it'll come up on the outro, is my free education section. I have tons of free content. If you need a little bit more hand-holding to walk you through the process, we have the 3-2 Warrior Academy. We now have helped 11,000, coming up on 900 people worldwide. It'll be 12,000 by the end of next week. Understand how to fish. We don't give you a fish. We show you exactly what our portfolios are. We show you our exit strategies. I show you my diversification strategy, my dividend strategies. I show you everything. I peel back the curtain so you can go make informed decisions. Okay. We don't give you a fish. We teach you how to fish, and then we fish right next to you and build a legacy. That's down in the description down below. You can join my Warrior Academy or click my social media platform. I also have my own insurance brokerage where my elite team can help you understand cash value life insurance, annuities, fixed income for life. And we can help you understand how to structure these properly. That's the number one thing. And understand how to fund them properly. A lot of people are driving Lamborghinis with a regular gas in it. That's the downfall to the cash value life insurance industry, is a lot of people are setting them up without using them, right? Not even knowing how to use them. And they're setting them, forgetting it. Our team is required to do follow-ups with our clients every single year to make sure that we are living and growing and building with you and helping you build generational wealth. That is our goal. So that's a free consultation in my social media platform or down below. I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, Warriors, rah, let's get your shit together. Let's go. Love you guys.